that showcase was done, I suggest you leave town. And if your ponies can't pull it off, well, I suggest you leave town. I mean, you guys really thought this was done? I mean, come on, man. These ponies got to go out there with a fight, man. Microsoft dropped a huge bomb into the pony stables, and now they're out here running rampant. Like, I mean, come on, man. Oh, Marvel Collection skipping Xbox. Ah, Wukong. Man, what's wrong with you people, man? Let's talk about all the games that are skipping PlayStation, like, Gears E-Day. What about all these other incredible games that are not going to drop on the PlayStation 5? Let's talk about how, the Marvel Collection, it's because Xbox is underpowered, not realizing that the Marvel Classics is coming to the Nintendo Switch and PS4. So, I mean, at this point, you guys are just trying to bring any sort of negativity towards Xbox. How about we talk about what the PS5 group said in regards to the PS5 being a failure? Oh, yeah, let's not talk about that. Let's point our finger at Microsoft and let's focus on what's actually bad going on there. And when the funny thing is, us Xbox, should I pull out my Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5? I can play these games anyway. So it doesn't bother me, but at the same time, I think I have a reason as to why Capcom decided to skip the Xbox release. It's because Sony owns a huge part of the fighting game community with Evil. I can guarantee they probably say, hey, Marvel, we working on your new Wolverine, I mean, the Spider-Man games, they top notch, man. I mean, can we not have this game drop on Xbox? I mean, yeah, I guess so, Sony. I mean, you do make our superhero games. I mean, we could at least do you this one favor because there's no reason as to why this Marvel collection shouldn't be on Xbox. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has been on the original Xbox as well as the Xbox 360, and now all of a sudden, it ain't on the Xbox One in series. I'm telling you, man, Sony has something to do with it, and it has more to do with the fact that Sony owns Evo. They did the same thing. I've had people tell me, I can't believe Killer Instinct don't have a competitive scene at Evo. You know why? Because it's not a Sony intellectual property. That's why. You really think they're going to want to have Killer Instinct in Street Fighter, a game that they funded with Street Fighter 5? I don't think so. That's why that game got overshadowed. Y'all like, oh, snap game. So you know what? That's a good point. I never seen it like that. And that's the reason as to why this collection of fighting games is not coming to the Xbox. Not because they couldn't fit there. It has more to do with the fact that Sony is telling these people that these games don't belong on the platform. And to be honest with you, we really have nothing. Well, then explain as to why it's on the Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is not in competition with Sony. So of course they don't care. Like, what's wrong with you people, man? Oh, but but there's still a lot of games out there skipping the Xbox. And there's a lot of games skipping PlayStation. There's a lot of games skipping the Nintendo Switch. And ain't none of you people saying anything until Microsoft. Now, if it's a game like Dragon Ball Sparking skipping Xbox, then that would have some concern to be like, yo, what's really going on here? But they're getting a lot of these major Japanese titles. So to me, it's not really that big of a deal. Go pick up a PlayStation. You don't need a PS5. So for all you people say, oh, well, it's bad. That's the reason why the PS5 is better. Not necessarily, because I can still play it on my PS4. So that still doesn't give me a reason as to why I should buy a PS5 to play Marvel vs. Capcom Part 2. You see how you fools are, man? At the end of the day, why can't we just sit back and enjoy video games, bro?
Guy here, and today I want to talk about the Xbox problem because it is in a very strange spot.
It's so funny that we're talking about Xbox problem, but can you tell me what games that Sony got coming out this year? Concord, Until Dawn, all the games that are dropping day and date on PC. He goes far to say that you don't even need an Xbox if you can go out there and buy these games on PC. So how come that logic don't apply to you ponies? How come it only applies to Xbox? I can play Concord, I can play Until Dawn, God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man. I can play all your PlayStation exclusives on PC. And yet, for some reason, we don't have this same argument, including Ghost of Tsushima.
It's a lot of publishers, a lot of developers, a lot of people are just choosing to skip.
Oh my God, and now he's using Lego Horizon Adventures as an example. Are you kidding me? That game's even skipping your own platform, which happens to be the PS4. And you worried about this game getting the Xbox release? Let's talk about the fact that Lego Horizon is dropping on the Nintendo Switch, and it's not even dropping on Sony's own platform, which happens to be the PS4, because you know why? Sony's tired of you guys playing on that platform. Therefore, you guys have to suffer in regards to not getting this game because they want you guys to upgrade.
Xbox. In 2024, we're beginning to notice this strange shift where people that are actually funding these games don't see Xbox as a profitable spot.
That's not it, because I even went on record to say that I would have supported Marvel Collection, whatever the bunch of fighting games is, on all platforms. Nintendo Switch, I had somebody tell me, yo, that game ain't coming to Xbox. And I'm saying to myself, why not? I mean, that's crazy. And this goes to show you that whatever Sony got their hands on, all they do is ruin video games, man. Fighting games are already as niche as it is. Why would you take a game like that away from the Xbox, considering that it's been on the original Xbox? Because they be complaining, oh, Xbox do the same thing. Oh, no, they didn't. Microsoft has never taken a third-party game away from you. That is facts. I'll be on record saying that. Y'all like, well, they did it with Lost Odyssey. Lost Odyssey was their own IP. Blue Dragon was their own IP. When y'all sit there and talk about, oh, they did the same thing in the 360, taking games away from... No, they didn't. Y'all try to do that with GTA 4, Final Fantasy 13, like you have been doing for years. That's all PlayStation has ever done, is take third party away from the competition. Every time Microsoft did that, they're like, yo, Square, don't take Final Fantasy 13 away from the PS3. Just make us our own IP. Okay, Microsoft, we'll have Lost Odyssey. Y'all make it seem like, oh, Microsoft out here taking games away from us. They ain't any different than Sony. You hear this? That's all you ponies do, man. But it don't bother me because I'm going to buy this game anyway because I'm a multi-console owner, and that's what a multi-console owner is going to do. But my whole thing is how is this game going to drop on Steam, which is going to run on the Windows operating system, which means that this game could have came to Xbox if Capcom wanted it to. So it shows you that Sony had to have their little bitty hands in this. We already know what's going on. Y'all been doing this since the PlayStation 1.
Even port your already finished games. And I want to talk about this, and I want to look at a bunch of different sources and tweets and all sorts of stuff, because this is everything except Xbox. Exclusively not on Xbox is a term I keep seeing pop up.
It's so funny that you guys are trying to use a collection of a bunch of old fighting games to say that the Xbox is trash in comparison to the PS5. Like I said, man, I enjoyed Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, but I already have access to these games. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get them on modern platforms, but I understand that a lot of people don't have access to these games. But all I'm saying is that, what is the point of doing this, Sony? They're like, Sony? Yeah, they are, bro. I'm telling you, that's why Sony trying to get buddy-buddy with the Marvel company, right? With the Wolverine. Hey, yeah, we liked your Spider-Man. Hey, Marvel, do you mind? I understand you don't, you probably want this everywhere, Disney, but, we've been doing you a favor. We've been making Spider-Man games for y'all, Wolverine now, and we've been making these games kind of successfully. So I mean, can we please not have this on Xbox, please, Marvel, please? Oh yeah, sure thing, Sony. We'll do a little time exclusivity deal, but maybe it might have to drop on Xbox later. But yeah, because we need people to buy our platform, and we're really struggling out here, to the point where we have to use old fighting games now to make the PS5 seem better than the Xbox. No problem, Sony, no problem. You're helping us with the Marvel Wolverine. It's all good.
Saying that they'll port it.
That's exactly what's going on.
Except for this. And a lot of Xbox fans, of course, are very pissed off about it. But I think it's interesting that this year we see that the new Trials game, completely skipping Xbox, Horizon Adventure is coming to PC.
Of course. You really think Sony's going to put that game on Xbox? I don't think so.
To Nintendo Switch. It's coming to PS5 all day one. It is skipping only the Xbox. And even... hold on. You said what? Hold on. I'm going to call Cap right there. It's also skipping the PS4 too. How about you talk about that? How about you talk about the fact that Sony is funding this game and they chose to skip the PS4? Oh, but it's because the PS4 can't run it though, right? Oh no, don't go there with that, because this game is coming to the Nintendo Switch. So what is the excuse that you got right there? Because you want to sit there and worry about Sony putting a game on Xbox, but you ain't worried about how Sony ain't putting a game on your own platform.
What?
Black Myth Wukong, which looks fantastic.
Well, that game's coming to Xbox, but at a later date.
They had to delay it. The developers said that are going to go, okay, well, maybe it will eventually go on Game Pass. I don't want to buy it.
No, that's not true, because I was actually going to go out there and buy the game. I'm telling you, Sony is doing this, bro. They've been doing this since the PlayStation 1 with the Dragon Ball Budokai. Remember when Grand Theft Auto dropped on PS2 first, and then they decided to release it on the original Xbox at a later date? This is what Sony's doing. And at the end of the day, regardless of what you're doing, Sony, it's not going to work, because at the end of the day, as much as I love Marvel, Capcom fighting games, that's not going to take away the weight of what's Microsoft got with Doom Dark Ages, Gears E-Day. These games are way bigger on a scale that people are actually looking forward to playing. I'm not saying I love these games, but come on, guys. There's a reason as to why nobody cares too much about Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and 2. We're the ones that do. This is for the old school, but then you have to ask yourself, how many of those gamers have you? Friends. How many of us have them? Friends. Actually, I should say gamers. Gamers. We do stuff together. Like, man, they hitting me. I'm hitting them with the Houdini.
Here's what's interesting is that some fans are not happy
gamers.
About this. Some people are claiming.
How many of us have gamers? Like, I mean,
this is a lie. Maybe it's time for developers to stop thinking this way, because I hate to say it, but it's not true. Nobody's conditioned for anything. Mm-hmm. I buy my games
on Xbox Game Pass, and the funny thing is he got a Japanese profile picture of Sephiroth.
Day one at full price if I want that game. Mm-hmm. There's been many times on Game Pass where I play a game, enjoy it, and buy it. Okay, well, I guess you know better than the developers. Okay, but...
yeah, see? How come you want to completely ignore that? There's a lot of Xbox gamers that buy games, even with the benefit of Game Pass. Game Pass will not fulfill all your gaming needs. I mean, even owning a PlayStation 5, if you are a real gamer, you're going to want to own all platforms. It is what it is. No real gamer is going to want to be locked down to one platform. I'm telling you, man. That's like prison to me. Locking me down to one ecosystem is like prison to me. Or should be prison to any real gamer. Not a real gamer that I know alive that would want to be locked down to one ecosystem.
I wanted to actually take a look at this because this is from their Patreon. This is something they referenced in Xbox. I think it's interesting to me because it is becoming this constant snowball effect.
Funny thing is, this has been going on with the original Xbox, Xbox 360, and Xbox One, and this is why Microsoft is becoming the main publisher within the gaming community, because they understand what's really going on here. There's going to be a point where you can't tell Microsoft or you can't lock games away from their platform. That's why they acquired Bethesda and Activision. And the funny thing is, Sony is still trying it, man. You can tell Sony is still stubborn. They're still stubborn, man. They're probably more stubborn than Nintendo, which is kind of unfortunate because Nintendo used to be up there in regards to stubbornness. But Sony, you got no dog in this fight, man. At the end of the day, it's over.
I always feel like there's this weird, like the video game industry is very cyclical. We've definitely seen in the past where once something starts to get a bad reputation, even if the reputation is inaccurate.
Oh, wow. Starting to sound like Dreamcast guy.
It becomes accurate.
Oh, wow. Give this man a round of applause. Hey guys, let's talk about something that's inaccurate and, let's make the Xbox look bad in comparison so we can make it feel accurate so people don't support games on their platform. Now I see what you fanboys are doing.
Like
you just exposed yourself.
Say the PlayStation Portables got no games, even though it had a ton of games, but then it makes it so that nobody buys the system.
Sounds about right. Sounds like an average day Sony fanboy. You say Xbox don't got no games, but then you're looking forward to playing them on PlayStation. Starting to sound like a Sony fanboy.
But he ends up supporting it, so even...
it's all starting to make sense now.
People who port games to it end up not being able to...
So is that why you do all these negative videos towards Xbox? Because you want people to dislike the platform just so it can make the PlayStation 5 look better. So you're using your inaccuracies. These are things that he's saying. You see how I'm able to articulate and break this down? So nobody can buy the Xbox and instead pick up the PlayStation 5. Is that why?
It's sales. It's this dangerous loop. And it's interesting.
Yeah, it's a dangerous loop, all right, because we already knew you was going to go back to bashing Xbox.
It's, if anything, Xbox is going down that path where the trend of Xbox doesn't have exclusives.
Xbox don't have exclusives. Helldivers 2, PC, Concord, Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, all these games are coming to PC. God of War Reboot, God of War Ragnarok, heading to PC. What are you talking about exclusives, bro? Like, you out here talking about exclusives, and the majority of the games that I just mentioned, Until Dawn Remake, PC. Concord, PC. Like, I mean, come on, man. Lego Horizons, multiple platforms.
Might as well buy a PC or buy a PS5 or buy...
What? You hear it? You see? It's so funny that you could buy all those other platforms, but stay away from Xbox for some reason.
Nintendo Switch, anything has more exclusives than Xbox.
Really? You're going to go as far to say that? Let's talk about how you're not getting Gears E-Day, you're not getting South of Midnight, you're not getting the End of the Energy. Let's talk about all the games that PlayStation's missing. Now, we understand that a lot of these games are on PC, but like I said, you're not using that argument in regards to Sony. Well, in that case, there's no reason to own an Xbox or a PS5, according to your logic.
If you do get an Xbox, people always say, including myself, the best part about the Xbox is that Game Pass is so great.
It's the options. It's the backwards compatibility. There's way more things, man. I can make a whole breakdown as to why I prefer the Xbox Series X over the lousy garbage PS5.
Got so many games, even indies, even crazy stuff, even
really?
Weird, bonkers shadow drops. Like, Game Pass is the perfect...
How about the accessibility? How about having access to both of your catalogs within PC and the Xbox ecosystem?
It's of the Xbox.
Oh.
And so people are just not incentivized to sell games on the platform. I mean, think about this. I personally own about 2,000 games.
Oh, Gamester, he exposed you. He must have put this for you. You know what the funny thing is? Look, y'all probably like, look at that. He got a lot of games, though, Gamester. Come on, man. You said he wasn't a gamer. Now, the only thing he proved is that he's a Sony fanboy. Where the Sega games? Where the Dreamcast games, though, right? Where the Dreamcast game, though? Those ain't no Sega games. Where the Genesis? He got 2 Genesis cartridges. Where the Genesis? Where's the Sega Master System? Where's the SG-1000, Sega CD, Sega 32X, Sega JVC-Xi? Where are those systems at, bro? Where are those games? Sega CD, Sega Saturn. You call yourself a Sega fan and you ain't got no Sega games in your collection? I told you, bro. All you proved here is how much of a Sony fan. I got all these games too. Not trying to downplay it. I love Sony too. But all you just proved with this is that you're a Sony fanboy. Why didn't you show your Dreamcast collection? Oh, that's why. Because your real name is Sony Fan Guy. We knew this from the very beginning.
Actual physical games. I have about 2,000 physical games. And a lot of those...
I got way more than that.
Retro for like PS2 and all sorts of different stuff.
I'm surprised. You see how he skipped out on Dreamcast?
I have a big PS4 and a PS5.
What about Dreamcast, though? What about Dreamcast? The Sega Saturn.
I own 2 physical Xbox games. These are the only 2 physical Xbox games I have.
This man's integrity is down a hole now.
And BioShock.
He didn't prove nothing.
Now, keep in mind, obviously, some people choose to buy more, but when's the last time you saw an Xbox collection? When's the last time you saw people actually bragging?
I have a pretty big Xbox collection. I mean, you had a few original Xbox games there, as well as 360, Xbox One. I have a few of these games myself.
About the amount of Xbox games they own. Now, I do want to end this with a note that, yes, there are Xbox games that launch and are successful, but I feel like they're becoming outliers. They're becoming these unique situation.
You know, it's funny because he even brought up the fact that I love the Steam Deck because the Steam Deck gives me access to the PC. Matter of fact, I even enjoy it more than Nintendo Switch. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, how are you going to say that in this video considering that you was bashing the new Xbox Portable?
When a game does actually sell, it's interesting. Like, this is a game that launched recently, Hypercharge. They've been hyping this for months.
And they bought it. And they bought it.
Now, our indie game has climbed to number 3 in top page.
Which is crazy because I remember playing this game on Nintendo Switch and nobody played it. But y'all say that Nintendo gamers buy games.
Charts. So huge props to these guys. But I almost feel like the fact that your game actually selling on the Xbox is being a big deal.
Oh, that hurts.
I think.
Or how about Black Ops 2 selling for $49.99 and people still buying that more than your exclusives? And that game is like over what, 12 years old?
Xbox has accidentally created a not exactly fertile environment for sales growth. I'm not saying the Xbox sucks. I'm not saying the Xbox is dead, but at this point...
I thought you did. I thought you said Xbox is going to be dead in 6 months. That's what you said.
It's just a Game Pass machine.
Wow.
And I think this problem is going
just a Game Pass machine, man. You know what? You know what? He's right. Because I'm going to be using Game Pass, playing that Gears of War E-Day, baby, South of Midnight. All those beautiful Game Pass games. Day and date, too, mind you.
Get a lot worse. I think the games that are coming to Xbox are going to get more and more first party, and third party is pretty much giving
They're calling it the GameCube zone?
But
what?
What do you guys think about this?
I think GameCube? Y'all gonna compare this to the GameCube, bruh?
I feel like on the sidelines because I do own all the systems. I do have everything.
And you only own 2 physical games on Xbox, which happen to be for the Series X only.
So I can play stuff anywhere, but I don't know. It's a weird one. But
you're most definitely a weird one. That's for sure.
With the exception of Game Pass revenue, our games sold less than 5% compared to our other titles.
Now, that's not a good argument because, like I said, y'all say that Nintendo Switch, right? Y'all say that, Nintendo Switch people buy games. That Hypercharge, I've had somebody tell me that. Oh, yeah, you got to check out this Hypercharge Unboxed game. I'm like, yo, I had this on Nintendo Switch for the longest and nobody played it. So even if people do buy games on particular platforms, all that really means is that people buy certain ones because Hyperbox Uncharged, like you said, is popular. It's third place in Xbox. But when it was on Nintendo Switch, I remember nobody was online on the game. You see? So it can depend on a case-by-case basis. You can't sit there and say, Xbox don't buy games because they don't buy these type of games. I can say the same thing about Sony. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Forspoken, Rise of Ronin. But, we can't touch in that situation, right? We got to act like that don't exist. And the funny thing is it the PlayStation 5 a Japanese console? And yet, people ain't buying Japanese games on it?
That is insane to think about. So if you put a game on every platform from PS5 to Nintendo Switch to Xbox and PC, 5% of total sales.
Which is not even that much because, you know why y'all like, that is a lot, gangster. Come on, that's a lot, 5%. How is that a lot? PS4 outsold the Xbox, right? The Xbox One 2 times. PS4 was like at what, 100 and some million? PS5 is at 60 million. That's 160 million users. 5% out of an Xbox One console that only sold 40, 50 million on top of the Xbox Series that only sold about 30 million is actually quite impressive. Y'all like, huh? What do you mean? Because the PS4 and 5 has an install base of over 160 some million users type stuff, and the Xbox is way less in regards to how many hardware sales they got, and they still only sold less than 5%. That is not bad. Now, if it was 30, 40, 50%, then that'd be a good case for an argument. But that, to me, is reflective of how much the Xbox consoles have sold. You're not going to fool me. You're not going to sit there and deceive me with this console fanboy rhetoric. Because most people are going to sit there and listen to you. It's like, that is true. Pony's always talking about how much their hardware sells, which means that they would have more access to the games. Of course, the game would sell a little bit less on the Xbox, considering that there's less Xboxes that sold. Like, come on, bro. You people need to start using your brain.
It's insane to me. It seems like the thing that is still carrying this industry when it comes to AA and when it comes to indies is the Nintendo Switch and
Wrong.
PC. I will admit, I am still shocked.
Wrong.
Like, the success of the
Nintendo is only carrying themselves.
Nintendo Switch will never stop melting my brain because I like
or milking your money.
Nintendo Switch. I certainly played it.
That's funny because most games on the Nintendo Switch are 30 FPS, and I thought you said 30 FPS was unplayable.
Nintendo Switch, but I'm somebody that's definitely completely on the Steam Deck bandwagon. I've been completely sucked into the power. I like the fact that...
okay. The same things that Microsoft was talking about with their portable. Go ahead.
With Steam Deck, it automatically cloud saves.
Microsoft is going to have that too with their Xbox portable.
My saves from my PC to my little system.
Microsoft is going to do that too.
Love that. But
so you love the Steam Deck, but you couldn't love the Xbox portable. There you go. The definition of Xbox tax. Right there. Y'all like, huh? That's not... Yes, it is. Because Microsoft was going to provide that for you in better. And you enjoy the Steam Deck. So what makes you not like the Xbox portable?
It is
that was alleged to come out.
That, if anything, Nintendo Switch gamers, more than anything else, they are crazy good about buying games.
Wrong. There's a lot of games Nintendo gamers don't buy. They buy particular ones. They buy they exclusives. You know, they buy the games that are the reason as to why you should buy a Nintendo Switch. But not every game. You can't go as far to say that. Yes, they do buy a lot of their games, you know, a lot of their Nintendo titles. But Nintendo has always had the problem with third party not selling as well. Let's talk about how third party was skipping Nintendo throughout the N64 generation. That's been going on for 20 years. And you want to make a video about Xbox not getting enough because they ain't getting 4 games? Nintendo hasn't been getting games for over 20 years and ain't nobody complained. But y'all want to sit there and point the finger at Xbox. Sony, the Nintendo Switch still ain't getting a lot of third-party games. Matter of fact, the Nintendo Switch is missing out on more bigger games than the Xbox is in comparison, and you don't even talk about that.
About buying physical.
To me, it's not about the competition. It's about keeping things consistent. And that's why I'm making these videos.
About actually supporting the stuff they like. So it's interesting that right now, that Nintendo Switch is like 20 times more powerful in the buying eyes of console developers than even the Xbox. You just aren't going to sell the same.
You know what, man? I think I've had enough pony dust for today. Like, this guy's ridiculous, bro. The Nintendo Switch is appealing to a certain demographic, which also appeals to children, and all they did was merge their portable gaming market together. But if you want to sit there and say that Nintendo was successful, the Nintendo the Nintendo platforms are actually worse than Xbox. Nintendo, out of the big three, was the first to leave the console gaming industry, which happened to be the Wii U. Why do you think they merged their 2 gaming divisions together, which happened to be portable, and made a hybrid with the Nintendo Switch? You people don't want to see it, man, but if you think about it, Nintendo was the first person, well, there's a few others, but I'm just saying, in regards to the big three that left the home console gaming division. How come you people don't bring that up? How come you don't bring up the fact that the Wii U was a failure and the Wii U was the reason as to why Nintendo made a hybrid console instead, which is more in light with the 3DS than it is with their home console gaming division, considering that the Wii U and Switch had very similar specs.
Units as you would elsewhere, said...
Well, I didn't know that. I never had a Wii U. I don't know that. Of course you don't.
It's a bit like trying to sell a DVD to...
Man, we done, man. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, man, gamers, how many of us have them? Gamers that do stuff together. Gamers